Hello, I'm Dr. LaDonna Osborn, and I'm coming to you just to share a few moments to include a specific story during this year of reflection on my father's life. My father, Dr. T.L. Osborn, was born in 1923. He passed in 2013, but his influence has continued and actually increased. So 2023 is the year that marks what would have been his 100th birthday. And we just felt impressed to take advantage of this year and every month come to you with some story, some piece of information, something that we feel is significant to highlight my father's life, his ministry, and his ongoing influence. There are so many things throughout his life that were pivotal. And these are things that all of my life I have tried to recognize and learn from. I don't want these principles to die. You know, when a person is evolving and maturing in their service, in their ministry, in their lives, they don't always know at the time the significant crossroads that they're experiencing. But in reflection, it's really easy to see, oh my, it's as though it's the thin threads of divine destiny that just keep us on track. And you look back thinking, I'm so glad that I did that. I'm glad I made that decision. I don't know where that thought came from. God must have given me that. You see, these are the things that in reflection, can really learn from. And so that's my motivation in just sharing these pieces of information that I believe are very significant. Now, I want to talk to you today about an event that took place in my parents' life in 1987. Now, by this time, they had experienced 35 plus years in mass miracle evangelism all over the world, more than 70 countries by that time. And they were coming upon their late 50s, early 60s. And God put a desire in their heart. Now imagine, my father is an evangelist. He always was an evangelist. He never changed from being an evangelist. My mother, a prophetic teacher, a woman of great influence. We'll talk about her probably next year. But when I think about this idea that God gave them, I step back and I'm amazed how God can give an idea that seems so counter to what one of his servants has done all of his life of service. And the idea that God gave to my parents was to come home to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and to plant a church. Now, if you know Tulsa, Oklahoma, we have lots of churches. We have more churches per capita probably than any city in the United States. I don't know that for sure, but we kind of had that reputation. And so people would ask my father, well, why does Tulsa need another church? And my father would answer, well, Tulsa needs this church. They founded International Gospel Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1987. It was and continues today a very thriving church. Now our pastor is Dr. Cheyenne Mull Anthony, and she has been the pastor for now many years. But in the beginning, the motivation for planting this church was very specific. Number one, let's do at home what we have done abroad for all of these years. So it was a season in the United States that the gospel was beginning to really be needed. When my parents launched in ministry in the 1940s, there was a lot of gospel, a lot of full gospel churches in the United States. But you know, as time has passed, the encroachment of secular societies and the changes that happen where the gospel, the redemptive work of Christ, the person of Jesus Christ, just ceased being the focus. Many other faddish teachings and themes. But for my parents, for our whole family, Christ and his redemptive work has always been the focus, the purpose for everything. So I believe that at the right time, God just inspired my parents to come, okay, do at home what you've done abroad. And the second motivation was very significant. And this really affects you, it affects us. It was, let us pause and let's put into seed form what we have proven around the world. So when the church was planted, my mother and father were passionate. They were teaching courses, the courses that are available to us today. They were ministering every one of their messages. So many series that we have available right now are so exciting and so profound. They were at that maturity level of my parents, their maturity of their ministry and experience. And they were putting in seed form, they were recording, they were photographing, they were videoing, they were putting in seed form. Now, what does that mean to you? Well, I hope it means that we take from their words and their ministries, their life experience, and we put it in a form that can be scattered around the world, that can be shared with a new generation, multiple generations, that make the seed available and useful. So that's what happened. And very interestingly, the very first series that my father preached, he laid the foundation for International Gospel Center Church. And his message was a series that lasted 42 weeks. Did you hear me? 42 weeks. That's almost a whole year. He preached every Sunday on this topic. His topic was, Behold the Sun. Oh, my friends, this is the most tremendous series. In fact, we have it packaged, all of the 3 complete courses, 42 messages by my father at this pivotal time of grounding the church on the person of Jesus Christ. We have it as one of the Osborn ministry training courses. We put it all in one bundle so you can have everything, all 42 lessons. It's tremendous. That's one example. Many things I could share with you about what came out of that founding and the foundational teachings. We'll talk more about that at another time. But what I'm wanting to show you is how God inspires a person to do a new thing, but yet it's not a different thing. It's new in that it expands in yet another way. I love this. We always believed in the church. Everything we ever did in evangelism always was in cooperation with local churches. This is so important for evangelists. I tell evangelists all over the world, if you're planning an evangelism event, do it in cooperation with churches, because evangelism isn't finished until people, new converts, have been discipled and they've become aware of their salvation and beginning to continue the life of Christ. So this is so important. So it does not surprise me that my mother and father would plant a church, but at this stage of their life, it surprised me. Now, they did what I was explaining to you for about 1 year. After that first year, they felt that they were finished. They went back to the field, back to evangelism and teaching all over the world. And the church had been founded, had been established, and Christ had been shaped in our minds, our thinking. And yet today, International Gospel Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma, is a multi-ethnic, multinational, full gospel church that preaches the truth of Jesus Christ, International Gospel Center. In fact, the motto of the church is a place where all kinds of people can come and learn to live the Jesus life. Isn't that simple? So I'm just sharing this. This was a pivotal time. It didn't last forever for my parents, but the ministry of the local church in the Tulsa community and the churches that have spawned from it and the fellowship of churches that has grown out of it that includes scores of nations all over the world. All of that was the outcome of the one decision. Let's go into Tulsa. Let's go home and plant a church and do at home what we've done abroad and put into seed form what we've proven around the world. So let God give you exceptional, expanding, ideas out of your experience. Don't just take your experience to the grave with you. Put it in a form that others can benefit and learn what you yourself have learned. That's a model to follow. I believe that's the calling. God bless you. This is an exciting moment together.